Little audio check here. All right. I think we're doing good. Get some folks in here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Here we go. We got it rolling now. Yeah, I got a little bit of the plane, trains, and automobiles congestion here from the tour. So forgive me if my hearing and playing is a little shot. I feel like I'm swimming in a bubble a little bit. But we're gonna live stream regardless. We're gonna do it regardless. So let's go ahead and hit one. This is about songwriting. Let's see if we can play one. little rub in there. That's all right. That little section is crazy. That's all right. Talking about some songwriting and some whatnots. Man, my head feels so congested. Woo! That one little section's really crazy that I rubbed. It's got the and you really have to trust the timing for it's that thing. So I'm taking all these shapes. That's one. That's the other. That's how you do it. So it's just taking, instead of doing the diminish like this, you're doing it like in one linear kind of thing. So I'm moving through 3. Yeah, that's just side notes. Okay. Oh, yes. Man, I want to talk about composition, and I want to talk about like taking the inspiration that one has and applying it to their playing, right? Getting little earworms and melodies and inspiration from all different kinds of places. That's really the secret to me. And it's like, how do you funnel that inspiration into your music? So this is a deep well today, and we're gonna be talking a lot about it, and I'm talk about your how to get visual inspiration from different places, like that tune that I just played, Master Gracie's Manor. How to get that visual inspiration from something that's not music. You're not stealing it from a lick from another guy or something like that, but also having the facility and the toolkit in your playing to take that visual inspiration and get it to the instrument. It's going to be a deep dive today. So Jesse says, "Hey Andy, amazing clinic last week at Matt's Music. How do you come up with chord progressions behind an already established melody? Thank you so much." Yeah, this is a lot, man. It's really fun because I've already been on the internet looking for the clips from the tunes we played this week, and I was super happy. You go out, play them live, and you never miss a note. It had a great representation. Then, like, I got in my studio, fumbled it. It's funny. Funny how that works. So let's see here. What was it? Where do I want to start? Let's start with taking melodies that you know and love, and they're not from guitar players. Like, this is a big one, right? It's like stealing not from guitar players. You guys know that I love films and film scores and film compositions, and there's one that I've been kind of noodling with today. I was trying to get it under my fingers. It's yeah. And if you don't know that melody, that's the Across the Stars melody from the John Williams Attack of the Clones, Star Wars, right? And it's a really pretty melody that it keeps moving around in different keys. Let's take the melody by itself. Starting in D. That's the melody. Okay. Let's play that one more time and just get the front of it. Right? Okay. Now let's figure out how that melody works with what we have going on. So we have the chords underneath it, and I have to condense everything. This is a huge orchestra, you know. It's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the London Symphony Orchestra. Huge orchestra has to be condensed down to fit onto the guitar, right? So I'm just taking. That's right. And then we move up into a new modulation. We'll get into why this works. Now this is the new 5, right? So now we're here. You know, so it keeps going and it keeps moving around. So now we've made it from D minor to C minor to F minor, right? It's really, really cool. And one thing that I really encourage is really great, and I think it's easier to do than a lot of people give themselves credit for, is just take some of your favorite movie scores and just grab the main melody, right? Like just grab the main one. And that main one is in D. Yeah. Right, that's it. Yeah. So you're just kind of trying to chase that main melody around, and look what's happening. You're gonna end up finding different shapes. Yeah. See those roots? Root and fifth, root and fifth, root and fifth, right? I'm just seeing all of this as F major, right? Or D minor, D natural minor. Oh. Seeing all that, right? What's neat is the way this thing goes. The way this thing starts traveling around. This is what's really important is you're not just going to keep playing through it in D. You're going to notice how this thing ends up using this little motif that has now, oh, look at that. You know, that's moving that root of D minor up a half step. Or if you're going to look at it as if you're in F, you're moving it down to a whole step, right? That's the money, because you're in F major. but you're playing around the 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Playing around that D minor. But you're in F. Okay, how did I get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And now we're going to be playing around the 6, and that's where this melody comes from. So. Kind of an A minor or an A minor 7. You know, that's how I hear that. Again, it's a huge wall of strings and horns and things. So it's like you hear, I hear all of that in there, right? I mean, that's really pretty right there, too. Yeah. Now we're going to use the 5 minor, okay? So if we're in F, we'll move it back a whole step. Now look what happens with this. This becomes this C minor kind of thing. Now because this is the trick, this is where he bends you and moves it around. So we're in C minor. Look what's happening with that melody. C, B flat, A. So that can be looked at in several ways. I'm seeing it like C minor with a major 6. 1, 2, 3, minor 3, 4, 5, major 6, flat 7. That's how I'm seeing that C minor chord, okay? But remember, we're playing from F. So move that back. Right. Now what's going to happen? Look at this. That note right there, B flat, it's going to turn into that chord. That's going to turn into G minor. So even though we've been playing in D, take it again. That G minor now has a new 5. Right? So this D, we were playing in D minor, now we've got D major. Now we're going to use that to frame us up to get us around the rest of the tune. So let's take all of it up to that point, you know. Now, look at this, We're going to move this whole motif up from the C minor all the way to F minor to C minor. So look at that function of C minor. What's happening there? That C minor was actually acting, if we're in F, that's actually acting as a 5 chord. So F is 1, C major is 5, C minor is like 5 minor to G minor, right? Yeah. And it feels like we're in G minor right now. Now we're going to move up and play F minor, but F minor is not our root. Our target is C minor. Right? Now with that, look where we are. We're in G, and that's going to set us up to play the main riff, the main motif, the main melody in the key of C minor. we have this little kind of thing. There's a weird little movement in there. But basically we get to, instead of moving up again, we're going to go to F4 chord. Yeah. Now we're going to move it up to that from F minor to the new 4, which is B flat minor. Now we're in F, right? You see how that happens? That's C major now. Look where we are. There's, right? So that's how I'm seeing it. So it's amazing that you go from here, right? Now look where we are. G minor. So I'm gonna walk you through it again one more time, right? So D minor. Oh, sorry, we're gonna D minor. We're gonna be in D minor first, or F major. Same thing, right? Now the modulation. We're gonna play that same motif, just like we played it here, but we're gonna play an F. See, that's F minor to C minor. Now to G, and that's got us set up to go to the key of C. That's why every time the motif comes around, it feels like it's in the home key. It feels like you're where you started. Move it around. It moves. Yeah, it's really good, right? You can keep the same thing going indefinitely. Now, John doesn't do that, right? That's just the front of it that I've kind of noodled at. And so how does this help me become a better writer, right? I think what it helps me do is see beyond guitar shapes. And it helps me see motif and theme. And motif and theme is super, super important. Like on that opening track. Seeing motif and theme helps me navigate, or not navigate, helps me create something that might be a little earworm or a little hook, and how I can keep reiterating that melody, moving it up, like a... So there I'm taking that kind of idea. So on that second section, you're seeing C minor, G minor, 5, 1. I'm seeing a C minor, G minor. You know, that's the lift right there. Yeah, it kind of gets us like that. So let's hold it. Now we have the 5 chord, the D. That's all. Right, so this is how this learning from film score helps you create music and it not feel like you're playing the same thing you've always played, right? Like in these clinics, one of the common questions is, you know, I've been playing for 20 years, 30 years, and I feel like I'm constantly playing the same things. Well, you know, that probably results from the same things that you're listening to and the same things you're applying. So if you're constantly living in the rock ecosystem, and by rock ecosystem, you know, that can be stretched out. Like an advanced rock ecosystem can stretch all the way into fusion. That can stretch all the way into prog metal. Like an advanced rock ecosystem goes from Tom Quayle to John Petrucci to someone like myself. Like an advanced ecosystem has a reach on it. And when you're only living in that ecosystem, you're not giving yourself a chance to listen to chord progressions that are very unrock, right? Very, very unrock. And that's why I like film scores so much. One of my favorites is the Leia theme, you know. Again with John Williams Young. I see somebody saying they wish they could afford one-on-one lessons with me. Yeah, I mean, my one-on-ones are expensive. However, if you sign up through Patreon, patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic, I offer a $100 tier. And in that tier, it comes with a monthly 30-minute one-on-one lesson, which is included. It also comes with 4 weekly live master classes. So for $100, you're getting 5 lessons with me, 4 in a group environment, 1 one-on-one for 30 minutes. And the weekly live master classes are about 2 hours long each week. And we get into all kinds of different topics. I encourage you to check that out. It's a great deal. If you can only afford the $25 tier, that'll still get you the monthly the weekly Zoom master classes. And this week we'll probably be talking about the tour and the clinics and the things like that. I used some of the SL67 and 68s on the tour, and man, they were great. They really sounded great. Okay, so now let's talk about how, now that we've laid some foundation for learning music that's not guitar music and applying that to your own playing, let's talk about how you get in your visual cortex, in your eye, your visual cortex. Let's talk about how you get into that visual cortex and all of the things that you digest throughout the day that are not music. Okay? This is a really important one right here, at least for me when it comes to composition and when it comes to writing. I'm trying to get influence from every aspect of my life. And sometimes those aspects can be very heavy and spiritual and emotional. I think that's the thing that most people would expect a songwriter to say is, you know, I wrote this when I lost my dad, like when my granddad and dad died. You know, I wrote that song when I lost them. That's something I think you would expect me to say. It's like, you know, I'm feeling sad. I got to find the sound of sadness, you know, whatever. I think the things that you may not expect is I get a lot of inspiration from other media sources, specifically video games and film and theme parks. I'm a huge theme park junkie. Like every time I'm on tour, I'm like, how close is the closest roller coaster? Like I gotta, you know, I love that stuff. It's really great. And one of my all-time favorite attractions, maybe it might be my favorite attraction ever built, is the Disney World, Disneyland, the Haunted Mansion. And the Haunted Mansion has a scene in the middle of the Haunted Mansion where there's these ghosts and they're kind of spinning around and the gag is really great. Like they came up with this gag in the 50s where, you know, they use mirrors and shoot the projection of the mannequins on the mirrors and then it outlines, makes it look like ghosts are out there using glass, you know, makes it look like a spirit kind of floating by. And that scene is the ballroom scene, you know, and I forget how the exact music goes, you know, was it, what key they do it in? Yeah, it's in A, right? I think it's in A. Is that it? Is that the yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think that's it. Is that what it is? You know, it's got this. I can't remember the next one. Maybe that one again. That's what it is. That's what it is, yeah. Yeah. So one more time. It's this weird thing. I had to like just do it from memory. Yeah. So you end up with this sound. A minor. This is the music from the Haunted Mansion. I don't know if they do it in A minor, but this is the melody. Right? Move my hand up so you can see that. That's kind of like A minor to B7. Right? And now we're going to go A minor to a B flat. Right, so we end up with this thing. It's really uncomfortable. Woo! It's so good, right? So that's the music from the original attraction. And in the ballroom, you know, it's like. It's got that kind of like pipe organ thing going on. And, you know, last time I was down there, of course, I'm going to write it like every time I'm there. When I was there, sorry, I was just reading that comment from Johnny. Last time I was there, I was writing it, and, you know, it was kind of fun because I already had the album out. They're not out, but done, mixed and mastered. So when I was watching the scenes on the ride, I was hearing. It's very much like a, I don't know, it's like a little Russian, a little Eastern European gypsy kind of thing. Romanian inspired. And, a little bit of that, a little bit of the metal rock thing that I do. This is kind of like where you don't need inhuman level chops to make great music and to make great stories. What you need and what you should aspire to is to have the amount of technical facility that you need to illuminate what your music is inside of you. So if you imagine something and it's a scene, can you put music to that scene? Oftentimes, I don't think people try to get that creative. This is a game. This isn't a game of trying to be the best guitar player or the best musician in the world. It's a game of creativity. Who's got really great ideas? Like, that's the game to me. Is like, are you creative? And oh man, I mean, like, I think I hear this. So creative, right? It's like Tim Burton and Danny Elfman before Tim Burton and Danny Elfman. You know what I mean? It's like those guys were doing that stuff in the 50s. And of course, we live in an era now where like everybody on the internet is a mutant, like an inhuman mutant level player. So it's like now what? Now what when everybody's good? Yeah. I'm getting some strange questions here, and I don't know. Let me caution myself. I don't know if the questions are reading strange because English may be a second language to some of you guys, but this is a strange question. What is your best sounding chords? John, there's no such thing. I think they're all the best sounding chords, or I think they're all the worst sounding chords. They could be either, depending on what you need. You don't. There's no best sounding chord. Like, what sounds the best? This? Or does that sound better than this? There's no right answer, or is the chords this? There's no right or wrong answer here on what's the best sounding chords. It really doesn't matter. Like, what are you playing? What are you doing? What are you trying to make? I think if you come at, I'll tell you this is an honest answer. I think there's Travis Toy saying, what is your worst sounding chords? Travis is right here. What is your worst sounding chord? He's saying that as a joke, but it's right. No, Travis and I are arguably my best friend and one of the most important musical people in my life. And we send serious ideas to each other and we send very stupid things to each other quite often. And he's making a joke here. What's your worst sounding chords? I think it's interesting to talk about one of the things that's a very hot topic. Like, I know a lot of really sick jazz guys that would make terrible rock players. And I know a lot of really serious rock players that would make terrible jazz musicians. And so when it comes to what's the best sounding chords, it's got to be a situation where, are you playing within the style of the music? Are you stylistically correct? When I play bluegrass, I'm going to use a capo. And I'm going to use, G and C open grips because that's stylistically correct to that genre of music. I mean, at the risk of this sounding terrible, I'm going to put the capo on the electric guitar. It doesn't want to be in tune. Like that sounds stylistically correct. Like that's the way you would approach bluegrass. You wouldn't really, you wouldn't really use a bunch of these kind of. It wouldn't be that kind of voicing, right? And also, for as cool as jazz chords, extensions can be, I don't really want to hear a bunch of that stuff over, 9-pound hammer or something. I mean, it's like, it just makes it's cheeky, but it doesn't make, I don't want to hear all 5 minutes of, old home plays with a bunch of extensions on top of the chords. It just doesn't sound correct to me. So it's like what we've got with the chords, or what's your best sounding chords versus what's your worst sounding chords. It's like they're the same thing. This is the same thing, right? Also, man, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out Travis Toy's episode with Music Is Win, it was really good, and it was cool to see to kind of be a conduit and get worlds to collide, because Tyler met Travis at the Woodshed event, and that's a big thing for me, is to try to be a source to bring people together that maybe don't walk in the same musical paths, and get the overlaps to happening. So go watch that episode. It was really good. It was really, really good. Back on topic is I'm gonna keep some questions going. Lucas is saying, I like how you play the melody and the chords together, but I need to work on that. I can play the melody, but not both. It sounds great together. So you just take small bite-sized items. You just take really bite-sized items, right? Like if you have the, one that I like. Let's see. What's a good one? What about that Lady Gaga? No, we got a bunch of guitar players. What about like right now, So don't worry about that piano part. But if you have, what was it? Yeah. That's the melody, right? So you take bite-sized pieces of it and you get the melody going to where you just see how that's moving around. And then you have try to just add one note. See how I just put it into double stops? So you have the bass line now, and you just think about the chords to the song, right? What are the chords? So you think about those chords, you put them all together. So basically, you're just trying to take little bite-sized pieces and keep stacking it up until it gets really, really complicated, you know. And that can get out of hand in a hurry. I remember working up Stevie Wonder tune one time, and it was like the bass line. Horns. Melody too. Yeah, I can't do it anymore. Yeah, it's a lot. There it is. One more time. Wes is saying, when you play like that, do you think in terms of playing multiple lines at once or just a series of complex chords? I'm trying to think only about one piece of it, like truthfully. And it's like you get used to the way it feels, if that makes any sense. Like on that, I'm thinking about the individual chords, right? For the Zeppelin thing. And then the melody. And then the... right, you have... You know, and like learning the different piano and organ parts to tunes. Like one that I love is doing like really taking the time to, you know, get used to some of those things. And sorry, I'm a little sick. I think really songwriting, inspiration, all this stuff, you really have to sit down with the instrument and the things that you love that make you want to play music. And a lot of times we get sidetracked and we get distracted with the things that we think will make us a better guitar player, right? You know, that's really the thing, is you get the inspiration from the things that are not so guitarish. You know, there's a lot of great music out there. Like, you know, I've stolen plenty of licks from Travis Toy, who's a steel player, right? Steel guitarist. I've stolen a lot of steel guitar licks over the years, and a lot of fiddle licks and things that aren't guitar oriented, and things that aren't even lick oriented, things that are like composition, more compositional, you know. That's really what's special to me. And like stealing things from your favorite songs that aren't the obvious part. Like everybody can play, right? Everybody plays that note, you know, but what's the melody? Like that kind of thing. You know, oh yeah, I've seen Ben Lacey. I know that. The legend and the lore of the mighty Ben Lacey, right? You know, he does all the he does all that stuff with the shuffle going. It's pretty nuts. I think the most important thing, and I'm going to stress this again, is you got to step outside of your comfort zones of getting and downloading another lick package off the internet and living only in this small bite-sized little world of like, I want to learn the Rosanna solo, so I'm going to go get on YouTube and have somebody spoon feed me one note at a time the Rosanna solo. And you wonder why you're not a better guitar player, because it's the learning process that matters. And it's also, if you can't play the chords to it and you don't know the melody, you know, it's you got to have this. You got to have that before you can play the solo. You got to have all these things before you even get to the solo, so you actually know the song and you're acquiring a sense of how melodies work over chords, you know, and understanding that Sweet Child of Mine, even though you're playing, like that's the guitar thing, but like it's, I mean, that's an interesting chord right there. If you combine all the things that happen between the melody line and the bass player and Slash and Izzy on Sweet Child of Mine, you have that for a split second, right? But if I play that by itself and somebody goes, hey, what chord is that? I'd be like, it's a Sweet Child of Mine chord. And they go, no, it's not. I'd be like, yeah, it is. But we're thinking that because we play power chords, it's like, well, the melody's doing... He's got that little bend in there. Right. Right? Right. Learning to put the third in the bottom. Right. It's digging deeper than that surface level. And important thing is challenging yourself. And maybe this is where we'll kind of ride off into the sunset. You've got to sit down and challenge yourself to an image in your mind that doesn't have music next to it, and see if you can provide the soundtrack to that image. Like, that's really what music is to me. It's the soundtrack to my life. It's the soundtrack to my relationships. It's the soundtrack to all the things that I'm experiencing, right? It's all of those things. Travis is saying, I'd like to challenge you to play the best sounding chord, but played in the worst way possible, and vice versa. Play the worst sounding chord, but play it in the best way possible. One of the dangers of playing, this is from Wes, one of the dangers of playing guitar is you can easily start to limit yourself to playing only what's physically comfortable and intuitive. More important than that, Wes, is you start limiting yourself to only playing guitar things, like things that are just what you've heard another guitar player do, right? You're not ever just stepping out and being like, what is the music that I hear in my head? And that's where I like to live on composition. Like, I had a really simple, pretty melody that was kind of inspired by Mark Knopfler. Real repetitive, you know, but with the chords, you know, there's nice things to be had in there. Just using the key of D major. Those are all just like, you know, just simple things that can provide some beautiful music if you're open enough and receptive enough to actually listen to yourself when you're playing. I think that's a big part of being a good songwriter. Travis and I talk about this so often. It's like, so often there's just an explosive amount of horsepower and chops And often there's not a lot of great song happening. Okay, here's Travis chiming in. In all seriousness, it's never about the lick. The licks are endless. It's the knowledge that is acquired through the process. The process is what matters. That's how you learn to make your own licks. That's exactly right. Travis is, and this is something we talk about quite often. It's the reason that Brent can play a thing and it sounds like Brent, and somebody else can play a thing and it still sounds like Brent. It's like it's being so in tune with your own sound, and you developed your own vocabulary to where you have a thing, you've got a sound, right? It's the reason Steve Morse sounds like Steve Morse, and hopefully the reason that I sound like I sound, and all of the things that surround all the players that we listen to, and the kind of player that we aspire to be. It's about developing the vocabulary, and like he's talking about that process. That's the most important thing. Go watch the Beato interview with Nuno. Nuno talks about learning Eddie Van Halen licks incorrectly, and that's what made him sound like Nuno. It's the process, and again, it's like allowing yourself to be receptive enough to to not be so worried about what you can play, and be very focused on what sounds like your statement. Those are two different things. You can have an immense amount of musical horsepower. Travis and I work with a drummer named Jim Riley, and Jim has a lot of musical horsepower. He's got plenty of things that he can do. But oftentimes is the case, just a solid pocket that's the most important thing that he can do. That's the thing that sounds the best. I think even Travis mentioned this on his Tyler video with Music Is Win, as he said, the instrument is so endless and people just keep it kind of in a box of country music. But one of the most rewarding things is when you hear a guy on pedal steel, bend that third, and it's real satisfying, It's totally that, right? Yeah, and Black Cat here is talking about dissonance. Yeah, you can use the chords within the scale to build some dissonance, Travis said earlier, I want you to make the ugliest chord, but play it the best way possible, right? There it is, right there. That sounds like a car horn, traffic jam. But when you put it in a context... Oh, beautiful. Beat this thing out of tune. But I think, you know what, I'm just gonna let it be and come back to it. Checking out some comments here. That chord straight out of Holdsworth's Out From Under. I don't know what that is, but possibly. To me, it's just all the notes from D major that are not, the obvious notes. That's got to have 4 in it. I guess, it's a major 7 and a 9. It's E, G, and C sharp, right? We put those in at the same time to get D. It's really nice, Simon is saying you're 100% correct about inspiration at workshops. I used a Chopin piece last week instructing at Tom Emanuel's camp, showing how there are gypsy and jazz country licks in it. It blew their minds. Simon, I bet that was really, really cool. I would love to scope that out. If you got video of that, please send that to me. I'd love to scope that out. Amazing hang today, guys. I hope walking through that John Williams thing kind of shows you how how from a technical standpoint it's being done, but more important from a thematic standpoint, how it's being done. Just coming up with a really great melody and moving that around different key centers, right? You're moving that from the D minor key center through a mod into C minor, and then from C minor into F minor. Like, that's not the same jumps harmonically, right? It's not like you're just going, all right, we're going to move it in 4s, right? Or we're going to do two 5/1s in major thirds, right? A la Coltrane, right? This is, I think that's the thing where John Williams is just spectacular on everything he does. We'll just everything I've ever heard John Williams do, I'm like, yeah, that's spectacular. Really, really great. Like superhero level composition. And those songs and those melodies will live long after we're gone. I really believe that. I think John Williams is the Beethoven or the Mozart or whatever of our time. I think his melodies are they're gonna exist forever. I think they'll exist as long as Moonlight Sonata exists. I really do. I just think the nature of society and media has changed, where now he's putting those melodies to moving pictures, movies, instead of putting them to, maybe an opera or something like Nessun Dorma, right? But that's the medium that they had back then, So, yeah. With that said, guys, I hope everyone has a great week. Sorry I'm a little under the weather, not feeling too hot, but great stream nonetheless. If you really enjoy the channel, think about hitting subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. If you want to scope out a bunch of exclusive material and exclusive content, jump over at andywoodmusic.com. That will get you to my Patreon. If you're thinking about, wanting to keep the machine going and want to help support the channel, just $5 a month at my Patreon will get you access to 700 videos. And if you want to take place in our weekly live masterclasses, that's also at the patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. And we have a ton of stuff, a ton of exciting news right on the horizon involving the album. I can't wait to get that out. We've got a new distribution deal that we're going to use, and it's really, really exciting stuff, man. Thank you guys again. Thanks for all the comments and the questions and chiming in. And I hope if you didn't catch this on the first run, watch it back, and we'll go from there. All right. Cheers.